Hey, what is up everybody? Blades for here, and today for you guys another video of Persona 5X. Inside today's video, guys, we're going to be going ahead and going over Katayama's whole kit, seeing the full skill translations have been dropped. Now I have the English translations on my right screen, so I'll be reading from there as well, going over every last one of her moves as well as the whole weapon. And I'm probably going to do it as we're going through. I'm unsure. Yeah, actually we're just going to watch the whole thing through. I'm probably going to skip the synergy side because we don't want to, of course, spoil that. But I'm showing everything else. Now, the reason why I'm being a little bit quick on this one is, one, it's late at night. Two, I recorded this whole thing like earlier, and the issue that happened was for some reason everything decided to glitch out. I'm hoping it's not doing it now. Literally, this was the video. I was already pre-recording it, or at least getting it uploaded and stuff. But as I was listening back to it, it was just absolutely glitching out. So hopefully this time it doesn't do it, and we're just gonna get straight into it. But we have this first part. This first part should only be let me make sure you guys can hear it. First part is only going to be the synergy, so they're just going to be talking about the synergy itself, but we want to get to the meat and potatoes, so I am going to skip ahead of this part here, mainly just because we want to see what the character really can do here. So I believe that starts. Okay, that starts right here. So she was talking about her past, and we get straight here. So immediately, the meat and potatoes with this character. She is a very cool looking unit. I won't lie with that. They did a really good job with the model. Freaking stunning. No pun intended, by the way. Love the little coat floating. The weapon, of course, this is the 5-star web. Looks pretty dang sick. And then the persona. Now I'm not gonna say anything because I know there's some English players out there watching, but cool. We have the skill 1, and of course Billy would do that, but let's go in there. Got the skill 1. It does have an enhance by the looks of it here. As you can see, it lasts a little bit longer, multiple more, at least 3 more hits by the looks of it. We have the skill 2. Doing a little bit of an electric shock, but this also has an enhanced version. Different effects too, actually. I just noticed that. Then we have the skill 3, which, mind you, this is stinking saucy. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Akihiko looking freaking 3rd skill, dog. Amazing stuff. Then the highlight looking just awesome. They put all the animation they could into this while being like a Tsunade looking kick. Okay, then we have the weapon as well as what it does. We'll be going over exactly that after this. Got the 2 passives here, and then the rest are going to be her I think it's just her awarenesses here. Afterwards, I'm pretty sure they're just going to show out the AOA, so we will be able to translate immediately. Yep, okay, it's just the AOA. All right, so we're going to start from the very beginning. Let's see if we can get this all set up here. Okay, we got everything set up immediately. Now I'm going to have the actual information on the right side. I'm just going to read it to you guys as well, while showing a little bit of what's actually going on in the video. So first things first, we need to go over the A0 and what she practically do. This is going to be at the beginning right here, where they're going to explain a little bit of what she really can do. Just to explain how this works is her A0 is called Infected Instructor, and her name, of course, Blitz, would unlock Killing Blow Flare Feet after casting Revolving Passion Blade. Now, Revolving Passion Blade is her skill 1, so I'm just going to say S1 so you guys know what we're talking about. And Killing Blow Flare Feet is her skill 3. So after casting S1, whenever you do cast S3, she will significantly decrease down gauge regardless of affinities. And in this point, she increases the defense down effect of Cripple, which is a status effect she's able to apply, by a certain percent for a certain amount of turn. Now, Cripple is one of the little effects that we saw from, I think, the skill 1. It should look like this little man right here. See, there it is. The little man on the 4th slot, which should be the Cripple effect. So she was able to apply this, and that gave a down, or at least a defense down effect all of that. So it's pretty interesting. Now, skill 1, it does have 2 variants. There has one, which is the regular revolving passion blade, being this one, where one blade goes across. And then we have the enhanced version, which can be gained from using a certain move, aka the skill 3, because we get something called Transcending Limit, which is another stack of hers. But by getting that later on, it does an enhanced variant of this weapon or this move here, which does 3 buzz saws and has a different effect. But skill 1, revolving passion blade, it does electric damage equal to a percentage of attack to all foes and inflicts them with cripple. Cripple is a defense down effect here, and it also increases the damage taken that they can have for a certain amount of turns. Whenever we do possess Transcending Limit, it then increases the skill damage by a certain percent, which is why we saw the enhanced variant, because if we had that said Transcending Limit from the S3, we're able to then do this additional amount of damage with the S1 with 3 blades. So simple as that. Then we have the S2. This one's called Lightning Absolution, where you guys saw she did like a little huge ball here, say little, and it has some small effects. Well, the enhanced version with that said stack of Transcending Limit then does this huge effect here, as you can see all the dust at the bottom, and that's to showcase that it is the different effect. But this deals electric damage equal to a certain percent of attack to all foes. It also decreases 1 down gauge regardless of the affinity if the skill had done damage. It then afflicts foes with cripple, and the defense is decreased by a certain percentage and damage taken is increased by a certain percent as well, which is very, very interesting. Now, whenever we do possess Transcending Limit, it significantly decreases the down gauge by an X amount and then inflicts the foes with rupture. The down gauge is then decreasing, or at least increasing the damage taken by a certain percent and turns out. So pretty cool to see. Then we have the next one being the skill 3. You guys should be able to see on my screen in a second here. He does a little bit of a kick, does a kick ball down, kind of like Akihiko, which does a decent bit of damage. And let me make sure something's playing here. Boom, there we go. I had to make sure that was stopping. I wonder what the heck was playing on my screen. But he did that little ball, did a huge ball of damage, and this translates to something huge. This is called the Killing Blow Flare Feat, in which all this one does, decent damage of electric here, increases a certain amount of attack foes, or at least from hitting the foes, significantly decreases the down gauge regardless of affinity, it's cool, and then causes rupture. This does a down damage taken, and damage taken overall is increased by a certain percent for X amount of turns. If the skill downs any foe, it gains you your Transcending Limit for a certain amount of turns, in which Transcending Limit boosts the effects of both Revolving Passion Blade being skill 1 and Lightning Absolution being skill 2. Cool. Nothing too crazy about that. Then we're going to go ahead and talk about the skill 3, or at least the highlight. The highlight does, of course, this huge little animation where she does a pretty much a tsunade kick. You guys know the kick I'm talking about, of course, and then a huge explosion after she throws out her arm. What this ends up doing is this one here increases the amount of attack that we deal to foes. It also has a base chance of inflicting dizzy, which is had me freaking flabbergasted when I first was reading it, but does a dizzy for 1 whole turn and decreases foes' defense permanently by X% the next time we down them with said highlight. It does not stack as well, so pretty darn interesting that we can get a little bit of a mental element out of this, also decreasing the foe's defense. Awesome. Then we have the actual 5-star weapon here. Looks insane as usual, and this is kind of just like Akihiko's, where it does help out a little bit in crit rate and crit damage in certain ways, but it increases your speed, and after we cast skill 3, it increases our crit rate for a certain amount of turns, and then if we down enemies, it increases our crit damage taken, or their crit damage taken, by a certain percentage, which is awesome. We then have the passive 1 and 2 going from here. For passive 1 called Reprimand, increases our attack for all allies whenever they down a foe. And then passive 2 called Ardor, or Ardor, I think it's called, increases attack by X amount for each speed in battle up to a certain percentage, which is always cool. Now we've already went over the first what's it called, actual awareness being A0. So we have A1 and A2. A1, called Sins Unforgivable, downs the foe and permanently decreases their maximum down gauge by 1. This also causes a rupture, which additionally increases the foe's crit damage taken. A2, called Justice Guidance, whenever downing an enemy, additionally decreases their down damage taken by X% for a certain amount of turns and permanently increases the attack by a certain amount of percentage for all allies up to a certain amount of stacks. So A1 and 2, pretty darn decent. A4, which you guys should see pop up as well, right? I think, yeah, right here. A4, this one's called Blitzing Honor, increases the highlight effect boost. It increases your damage taken permanently by a certain percent as well. And then the next time we do down them, this will act, well, in general, the next time we down them increases the certain amount of damage they take. Boom. So I really have to say with that one. Then we have the A6, which is the huge one. A6 pretty much makes her into a damage dealer, and that was something I wasn't expecting, but it's called the Instructor's Soul Undying. Whenever she does gain 2 stacks of Blazing Soul at the start of the battle, well, she will gain this at the start of the battle. For every 2 persona skills that are casted, she then will gain another Blazing Soul up to 3 stacks. Well, at the start of that said turn, she then can consume one of those stacks, allowing her to deal a ton more damage significantly. And during this, her attack is increased, her crit rate is increased, and her damage is increased, or crit damage is increased. Additionally, her highlight is now able to crit people with cripple, and this does increase damage taken. And then with foes who have a rupture, she will additionally deal damage down, or at least down damage taken to them as well. Now, whenever she does receive a fatal hit, she then consumes one of these said Blazing Soul stacks, and it allows her to evade attacks damage in general. This can trigger up to 1 time for each battle and have an effectless side to it for a certain amount of skills, or at least certain skills. So there are going to be some skills that can just kill her, but there's going to be skills that she can just straight up evade. So pretty darn interesting. I'm actually excited about this character. I'm kind of mad that I had to do this, but it is a little bit shorter than the last one. So let me know down below how y'all feel about this. And if you want to know more about this character and see the translations yourself, I'm pretty sure Red Harv is going to have them going up on Twitter. So you will be able to check them out there, which is going to be the P5X News and Info account. But for now, thank you guys for watching and peace out.